Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Badger Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, restoredmotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. All right, everybody, hope your New Year's Day was awesome. If you had the day off, hope you enjoyed the football and maybe a low-key day with family, whatever it might have been. Thanks to everybody who came out to walk-ons for Whiskey and Wine. We had a great time, man. Had a great time watching the game. Had a great time at Whiskey and Wine after the game. A really good crowd too, which for your New Year's Day, 11 a.m., you're never really exactly sure how it's going to go, but people are actually going to get up and get out. But so many of you did, and it was a great time. So thanks to everybody who came out for Whiskey and Wine over at Walk-Ons. Tigers win. They rally to beat Wisconsin 35-31. Get my notes. And so the LSU finishes with 10 wins, back-to-back seasons now, after obviously the 2020 and 2021 seasons were not at the LSU standard. Brian Kelly is building LSU back to that standard. I don't think anybody's going to do backflips and celebrate a 10-win season. It's just not. You don't go into the season at LSU saying, "Man, I hope we get to 10 wins and play in the ReliaQuest Bowl." It's just not. That's just not the goal. But you have to realize where you were, and it's a process of getting back to where you want to be, and LSU is taking steps in that process. There were three things we talked about yesterday here that I wanted to see: Nussmeier, how the offense might look different with Joe Sloan, and then with time to prepare, did the defense improve at all? And Nussmeier was the MVP of the game, threw for over 400 yards. Hang on, I'll get the final stats here. But it was an imperfect day. You missed a couple of deep shots. You would have had a walk-in touchdown to Brian Thomas on the first drive. Would have had a walk-in touchdown to Chris Hilton late in the game. The ball that was underthrown that Hilton made the basket catch. It wasn't perfect, but 31 of 45 for 395, 3 touchdowns, the interception before half, which the defense came up with a stop, so the interception didn't cost you. They got the ball after the pick around midfield with 32 seconds, and they ended up with a 3rd and 1 through a pass incomplete. It was a drop, and then on 4th and 1, they went for it, and Whitweeks came up with the big stuff. So the interception didn't even hurt you. But I thought Nussmeier was in complete control of the game, and there's so much you could build off of. Threw for 395. So that was the first part. The second part about Sloan was that was what I expected. If you were here yesterday, I figured LSU was going to struggle to find balance because you didn't have the dynamic of Jaden Daniels running, and so you just have to figure that all those times where Jaden would tuck and run, whether not even counting the design runs, those were going to be passing attempts, and they were. Nussmeier did not have a rushing attempt in the game. And remember, sacks count as rushing attempts, which means he was not sacked. So a great job by LSU's offensive line keeping Nussmeier upright, and Nuss was going to sling it. So that was the big disparity, right? So you threw it 45 times and you ran it 25 times. Look, you put up 492 yards of offense and 35 points. I don't necessarily care how it looks. It's the result. We expected it was going to look different. It did look different. That was to be expected because you didn't have Jaden's running ability. And then lastly, the last thing was defense, and this defense is just. Somebody on Twitter yesterday asked me, how are they this bad? It's amazing how they're this bad. I said, with respect, it's actually amazing that there's an LSU fan after 12 games of watching this defense is still surprised at the fact that they're bad. I'd hope that they would take this month, nearly a month, and improve and have a game plan for a bad Wisconsin offense, and make no mistake, that was a bad Wisconsin offense. I mean, Tanner Mordecai's season high passing was 277. He threw for 378 in this game. He had 6 touchdowns on the season. He had 2 in the first quarter, 3 for the game. It was just another atrocious performance by what is arguably the worst defense in LSU history. So, man, that was not surprising. But after the game, Brian Kelly said now they begin their period of staff evaluations, which we've talked about here for a long time. A lot of people were expecting changes right after the season. Like, pump the brake. They were going to get through signing day, certainly. And then, obviously, by that point, you were so close to the bowl game. You were going to get through the bowl. So we'll see what changes they make. A lot of people have talked about Bo Davis on the defensive line. Texas lost last night. So you could go make that push now if they're going to. I don't know if they are. Devin, Matt, how dare you make a sound while you sip that drink? I already worked out. I got up early, went and worked out, went and did hot work. So, hot works, you work out in a sauna. So my sinuses should be drained. I shouldn't have a lot of sniffing and smacking this morning. I hope not anyway for Tremaine. But I do have, my high here. So, hope that's okay, Tremaine. Anyway, okay, so we'll get to your questions, comments on the game. LSU wins. Now you turn the page to 2024. And congrats on Elite Neighbors, LSU's all-time receiving leader and receptions leader. And then how about the playoff, man? Even a blind squirrel finds a nut. I called it, had Michigan and Washington winning the 2 playoff games. So even the blind squirrel finds a nut. But I talked about it. Thought Bama was not a great Bama team. Thought Michigan was better at the line of scrimmage, and Michigan's defensive line dominated that game. And then in the other game, I told you I just wasn't going against Michael Penix and Kalen DeBoer anymore. I mean, there's something to be said for continuing to find ways to win every game you play, and Michael Penix is awesome, and those receivers are too. So I know everybody was expecting to see Bama, Texas in the rematch, and my prediction was Michigan-Washington, and it went down that way. Although Kalen DeBoer tried his best to blow that game late, and I certainly hope that Devin Johnson, with that foot injury while they were running out the clock, it doesn't cost him a shot to play in the national championship. But, I mean, just sheer stupidity. I mean, coaching malpractice by Kalen DeBoer at the end of that game. For those that weren't watching the end of the Sugar Bowl, Texas scored late to make it a 6-point game. They had to onside kick. There was inside of 2 minutes to go. Washington recovers the onside kick. Texas has 2 timeouts. So instead of just taking a knee, Washington runs the ball 3 times, which I can't understand why you would run the ball and risk a fumble or anything. Well, on 3rd down, Texas out of timeouts and about 40 seconds to play, thereabouts, maybe 47 seconds to play. They run the ball. Devin Johnson, the running back, is injured, which stops the clock. So instead of running it all the way down to 10 seconds when you punt, they punted with 45 seconds, whatever it was left. And Texas very quickly moved the ball downfield and had, 4 plays from inside the 15, I think from the 12, with a shot to go win the game. And Washington's defense stepped up and made the plays. But, my goodness. All right, let's say some good mornings. Truax, Quentin Brakebill, Bruce Parker, Lance Richard, good morning. After yesterday's game, do we go into 2024 with 2 new coordinators? I'll continue to repeat what I've said all along about Matt House, which is if you want Matt House gone, the best path you could hope for is that he gets hired by the NFL. Maybe after yesterday, there's enough boosters that'll step up and pay his buyout. But as I understand it, that was part of the issue, was raising money to buy him out. And, we'll see how it transpires. I don't know. It's a long way of saying I don't know what's going to happen on the defensive side. But I think it's hard to justify bringing him back. I mean, I said that since Ole Miss, and I'll stand by it. Like, I don't know how you can justify bringing back a coordinator that just oversaw the worst defense ever. Anyway. Tim Forche, Michael Cook, good morning, Rick Kelly, Matt, your thoughts on Sage Ryan yesterday and flipping Dominic McKinley. So we talked about Dominic McKinley yesterday, and I thought that's obviously huge. You get the top player in the state of Louisiana. Now you've got, I think, 7 of the top 11 and maybe 12 of the top 14 committed. So you put a fence around the state. Not only did you get a big player in a position of need, but you also got him away from A&M, so that's huge. Sage Ryan, I thought yesterday was what we've expected from Sage Ryan all year. I don't think he's a cornerback, but he's playing there sort of out of necessity. And hopefully you're able to go fortify this team, this roster for next year to where he can play in a more natural position, maybe a nickel spot. Rick Kelly, Matt C. Kyron Lacey telling Brian Thomas to come back for 24. I did. I also saw Brian Thomas awkwardly laugh as if to say there's no way I'm coming back in 24. Jim Arsenault, Kelly Presley, what's going on? Who's LSU starting quarterback next year? Garrett Nussmeier. Moon Caves, good morning from Bogota, Colombia. Big fan, go Tigers. Thank you, Moon. Appreciate that very much. Jacob Thompson, morning, Matt. Very glad Nuss played a good game. Prove me wrong, but let's make Perkins RB1 for next year. Yeah, Harold Perkins scored the first touchdown of the game. It was so weird, too, because you saw number 4 go into the end zone, and I'm looking, and I said it out loud. Watkins like, was that John Emery? And then they showed kind of the close-up of him. You see the back of the jersey was Perkins. I was like, oh my God. They let Harold Perkins touchdown vulture everybody in the bowl game. Juan, good morning, Mike, the Tiger, Jaden Daniels, Heisman. 2024 is going by so fast. New Year's Day seems like yesterday. David, good morning, Bubba Tatum. Starting the first workday of 2024 off with PTO. Still recovering from a great weekend of Louisiana football in Tampa. Everyone on the Nuss bus. How about it, man? Saints and Tigers get wins down in Tampa back-to-back days at Raymond James Stadium. Very cool to see the Saints keep their season alive. LSU finishes its season on a positive note. Twice coming back from down 14-0, or 14 points, was down 14-0, then 28-14, and both times LSU rallied. Look, credit the defense because while the defense got you in this mess, they also had to come up with stops late so you could get out of it. After they went up 31-28 and you punted, you had to get a stop. You did, got the ball back, and you went 3 and out. Like that felt like that was your chance. And on that next drive, if LSU's defense didn't come up with a sack, you probably didn't have enough time to come back at that point. Like if they had scored, because you'd have been down 2 scores, so you had to get a stop there. And they had the 3rd and 10, and Mekhi Wingo got the big sack. Got LSU the ball back. They went down, and Brian Thomas scored what would be the game-winning touchdown. So, Wisconsin got the ball back with 3:03 to play, and your defense came up big. So, Jeff Hawk, good morning. Happy New Year. James McKinney, what's up? Ryan Penton, good morning from Long Beach, California. All right, man. Joey B19, Michigan, Washington. Nice call, Matt. Zachary Hardy, good morning, Matt. How fitting is it for us to mess up the opening kickoff? Yeah. So LSU won the toss and elected to receive, first of all, which was, I can respect saying, all right, we want the ball. We want to go set the tone. We got a new quarterback with Garrett. Let's go be aggressive. I get that. But we've seen this team enough. Like, the defense is bad as it is. You need the back-to-back possessions and the first half, start a second, and you need the extra possession in the second half. So I know why they made the decision they did to take the ball, but it was not a smart decision, just based on the sample size of the evidence we have of this season. And then on top of that, yes, Wisconsin kicks the ball, it's floating toward the sideline, and Javen Nicholas catches it and steps out of bounds at the 7. Like, to not have the presence of mind, the understanding to let that ball go out of bounds is inexcusable at any level, but certainly at the major college level. So instead of the kick going out of bounds, you're starting at the 35, you're starting at the 7. And you put together a nice drive. You put together a 13-play drive, I believe, but you stalled out. I mean, anyway. Alex Katsanos, good morning. William Peden, good morning. Devin Kelly, Matt Boy, you late this morning? Good morning. Down goes Bama. Time for Saban to retire. Dynasty is over. Washington going to win it all. I'm not late. We're back on time, man. So I did get up and go to the gym this morning. So we'll be back on time, around our 7:30 start time. I think it was like 7:35 today, Devin. But we're back on time, so we'll be back here in this 7:30 range. But Drew doesn't go back to school until Thursday, so I can go a little bit later today and tomorrow. But starting Thursday, we'll be back from like 7:30 to 8 Central. Juan, Matt, how does the SEC championship game decide next season? Yeah, divisions are gone, so just the top two teams in the conference at the end of the season. Wendell Norman, Brian Wynn, nice win by the Tigers yesterday. College football playoff games were outstanding. They were, to get overtime with Bama, Michigan at the Rose Bowl, and then Washington never trailed against Texas. Really good offensive first half. By the way, if you were betting with us, gave you Michigan, gave you Washington, and gave you the over in the Sugar Bowl. So, ching, ching, ching. Now, we did lose with LSU, and we did lose with Iowa. So, but a 3-2 day, and profitability is the name of the game. Taz, I saw a mock draft that has the Saints drafting the Michigan quarterback in the second round. Dude looked awful last night. Yeah, I don't think J.J. McCarthy, at least not at this point in his career, is someone that I would be excited about as an NFL quarterback. And I would certainly not like the Saints to use a second-round pick on him. Rick Hess, good morning. Mr. Kashi Rose, good morning. Irfan Sayad, Tiger Diver, Taz, Penix, or Daniels, who you drafted if you had a chance? I would still take Jaden because of his running ability, but I think you're talking about two guys that both have the potential to be really good NFL quarterbacks, man. It's hard not to look at Lamar this year, who's likely about to win his second MVP, and not make the Jaden comps. I mean, they're just so similar. And at this point, Jaden is certainly a more polished passer than Lamar was coming out of Louisville. And it makes sense. I mean, Jaden's played 5 years of college football. Lamar was a young guy. He was the youngest Heisman winner ever, and I think he was 19 when he was drafted. Let's see. Alex, Texas and Bama lose. The post games with both were great to watch. Fire save it again. Sark isn't good enough. Gary Petrie, good morning. A happy New Year, another nail-biter game. Such was the case with this team all year, man. Air Tech, the defense kind of looked better. Are you kidding me? I mean, you were playing literally one of the worst offenses in the country. Wisconsin averaged 22 points a game. They had their points per game and their passing yardage total averages at halftime. No, the defense didn't look better. The defense looked atrocious, as they have all year. Let's see. Brian Wynn, Matt, who handled the kickoff duties for the Tigers yesterday, could barely reach the 10-yard line, often put us in bad field position. Well, I think some of that is strategic. What you've seen a lot of teams elect to do, because they move the kickoff up 5 yards, is to try to sky kick and have it land inside the 5 because you're closer. So you either induce a fair catch, or if they return it, you hope you could tackle them short of the 25 because your returners are closer. So anyway, I think that's probably why. Ramos is the place kicker who handles kickoff duties as well. And he definitely has the leg to get to the end zone. Brad David, good morning. How did you know Michigan and Washington would win? I thought Texas and Alabama would win. We don't know for sure, man, but those are my picks. Michigan was better at the line of scrimmage. That's what I said yesterday. Michigan was better at the line of scrimmage than Alabama. It was a close game. It was a great game. And Alabama certainly could have won, but Michigan's defensive line was better, and that was the difference in the ballgame. Michigan was a better team at the line of scrimmage. And that's not often you could say that about Alabama, but it was true this year. Michigan was a better team at the line of scrimmage. And at Washington, I told you, it's not going against Michael Penix, which makes it very complicated for this week because for the championship game, because part of the reason Penix and Washington were so good yesterday is because Texas's defensive line couldn't get to Michael Penix. And if you let him just sit back there and spin it, he's going to pick you apart. The challenge is Michigan's defensive line is awesome, and I think they're going to make life really difficult for Michael Penix. Milroe isn't the next Cam Newton. He's a gas station Tim Tebow. Tiger Diver, morning Scone. Tell Tebow I'm sorry I upset him by saying Confederacy of Dunces was not a good book. He seemed really mad. I don't think T-Bob's ever really mad. That's not really in his personality to ever be really mad. Brett DeGrow, morning Matt. It's 2024. LSU is 1-0. Alabama is 0-1. Great start. PTG Toasty, good morning. Happy New Year. Larry Garner, Kenneth, why do you think so many people were saying Jaden quit on the team by not playing? I just think that's an old school mentality, Kenneth. People that don't like opt-outs, and so they default into the you're quitting on your team narrative, which is just stupid. Players have taken back control that they deserve. And if this were a true playoff, Jaden Daniels would have been playing. But bowl games are meaningless exhibitions. That's what they are. It's what they've always been. We just painted them in a different light because the vast majority of college football fans allowed themselves to have the wool pulled over their eyes and to believe in things like the pageantry and tradition of bowl games. Well, if you're Jaden Daniels and you're staring down a $20-30 million contract, are you really going to go risk injury in the ReliaQuest Bowl in front of 25,000 people in Tampa and blah, blah? And then the counter's always, well, you finished what you started and blah, blah. It's like, that's just stupid. That's an arbitrary, abstract, stupid narrative. Like, I'm telling you, there's $20-30 million waiting on you if you just get to April healthy, or you can go play in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Give me a break. Christian Geiger, more than Matt Washington looks different. Penix looks amazing. I don't know why people didn't see that. I mean, it's like you didn't watch that team play all year. Yes, he is amazing. Devin Kelly, T-Bob was acting like he would have whooped your behind had you said that to his face. He was big. Nah, you're talking about the Confederacy of Dunces thing. No, he wasn't really big mad. Like, T-Bob doesn't really get mad. Cody Kibido, more Matt, was Diggs still injured? I don't recall him having a carry, and so remember seeing him on the sideline. Yeah, Diggs started the game, but he and Neighbors shut it down at halftime. So I don't know if he got injured during the game, and I didn't listen to Brian Kelly's postgame, so I'm not sure what happened there. But Neighbors got the record and shut it down at half. Bradlin Anderson, Greg Penn is way too clutch to take out on third downs. LOL. Let's see. Oh man, sorry. I lost my spot. Let's see. Will Davis, good morning. Want to see Caleb get more carries. Great call in the playoff games. Yeah, I wanted to see Caleb. I actually tweeted in the fourth quarter, like, is Caleb Jackson still in uniform? Please give him the ball. And then he literally got the first carry of the next drive. But yeah, in the first half, he had the one reception and the one rush that went for a touchdown. Taz, good morning, Matt. Do you consider yourself a celebrity? Maybe like a moderate D-list local celebrity? Sure. Tommy, good morning. Gulf South, good morning. Waiting a month after the season to potentially make a DC change seems really late since other teams made changes right after the season ended. Am I wrong here? You are, because, listen, you could argue that it shallowed out the pool because other coaches have already been hired. But if there's someone you really want, you can go get them. I mean, we see that happen. I mean, that happened last year with Miami. who's the DC? Lance Guidry, who was the McNeese coach, who was at Marshall. Tulane hired him, and before he ever coached a day at Tulane, Miami came and hired him. So there is that school of thought, though, that if the longer you wait, the shallower the pool of candidates gets. But LSU will be able to find very competent and capable defensive coordinator candidates if they choose to do that. Joey Vincent, Jason H., Devin Kelly, Washington tried to pull the Miami blunder. Golly, they did, didn't they? Ryan Pike, good morning. I never want to hear the name Major Burns ever again, but he was pimping a 2-yard TFL after his defense gave up a 50-yard bomb. Major Burns, I'll tell you this about Major Burns, though. He's the one guy, or one of only a few guys on that defense that actually plays with attitude and swagger. I'm with you. Defense is awful. It's like, shut up and go back to the huddle. I'm with you on that. And he did not have a great year. But he is one of the few guys that plays with some attitude and swagger and will put his nose in there and hit somebody. And please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. Todd Davis, Heat Man, good morning, JR. We all knew Michigan-Washington was the dream matchup for the championship. Now all regions of the country will buy into the college football playoff. More money with no perceived regional SEC bias. Alabama, Texas, or Michigan, Texas would have been the dream matchup for TV. Because as nice of a story as Washington is, Washington will not bring the eyeballs, the attention that Texas will, period. But I think we're going to get the best game. Let's see. Bogota, Colombia? Bogota? And by the way, if you're going to spell something phonetically, Ryan, then you have to capitalize where the emphasis is. So, I don't know if it's Bogota, or Bogota. But I think it's Bo is what you're saying. Either way, okay. UB1, Todd Davis. Why Nit put that pressure at the end early? That's probably why not put that pressure at the end early. Tim Gotro, Devin Kelly, they're still going to say the SEC bias when 3 to 4 teams get in every year. Gulf South, W popped the fireworks New Year's Eve and they were blue. Oh, good. That's right. Gulf South told us they were doing the gender reveal. So baby number 2 will be another boy. Very cool. Congrats. Congrats to you and the family. But it's nice not having to buy new girl stuff. The hand-me-downs are legit, no doubt. Congrats to you and your family, man. That's great. Todd Davis wanted to walk on, receive the ball because Javen Nicholas has been returning kicks. I know at times this year Caleb Jackson's been back there. Logan Diggs, John Emery. Diggs left the game, and Emery obviously has been hurt. So Javen Nicholas has been someone that's been returning kicks for a couple of years now. JR, shout out New Orleans native Ward Manuel, who's the AD at Michigan and responsible for the Harbaugh hire. Yeah, Ward Manuel, Brother Martin guy, who's the AD at Michigan. Jonathan O, good morning, Matt. Happy New Year. Read yesterday that LSU's defense is giving up 30 or more points in 8 games this season was a record. Not the kind of records we want to see. There were a lot of those records of futility from this defense this year. CK, what's up, Matt? New quarterback, same story, bad defense. Finally, we played bump and run to make wide receivers earn yards. And the problem with playing press man like that is when your defensive backs aren't good and you put them in man coverage and you lose one-on-one matchups, you give up deep balls. And LSU did that consistently yesterday. So you say, hey, let's play zone. Well, you play zone and your defense isn't good at playing zone either. So anyway, Carlos Paez, good morning. JR, Alabama eyeing Kiffin now instead of Dabo. I don't think Dabo would ever leave Clemson. Lane would, the question that Bama's going to have whenever Nick does retire is who's going to want to replace Nick Saban. Lane would do it, and y'all may laugh at this, but I'm telling you, there is a strong feeling among the coaching profession and agents in that world that Dion would be a strong candidate, and Nick Saban would endorse Dion. Like, they're close. They do the Aflac commercials together and everything like that. And Nick respects Dion, and that's someone he would endorse, and he would get players. Todd Davis, what's going on? James Avery. Ransom Mantle. I'm going to move a little quickly here, y'all, because I do need to go shower and get up to work. Good morning, Matt. Thank you for being my calm in this Atlanta traffic every morning. It's the worst. Ransom Antoine, appreciate you for being there, man. Buckle up, drive safely, take a deep breath, and get where you got to go safely, man. Robert Brantley, Wacky Chris. Good morning, Matt. I was impressed with the fact that Jaden was on the sidelines cheering for and coaching up his guys instead of heading off to prep for the Senior Bowl and the Combine. You know, Wacky Chris, I'll need to confirm this, but Jaden wasn't there for bowl practice. So, and I was told he was going back to California to work out with his quarterbacks coach. So what I think probably happened is he left, after the semester, Heisman, all that stuff, went back to California and has been there working, and then went to Tampa for the game. That's I don't know that for certain, but I think that's what happened, because Jaden was not there and media got to watch, 2 of the practices the week before they left, and he was not there. But yes, it was cool to see him for sure. Smart is not leaving Georgia for Alabama. That's true. I think Kiffin stayed at Ole Miss for a reason. Lane would leave Ole Miss for Alabama. Taz, if the Saints don't draft a quarterback early, how about acquiring Browning from the Bengals due to his balling? He could replace Carr in 2025. I don't know Jake Browning's contract situation. But I think but he has certainly made himself money this year. Let's see. Browning, he's on a 1-year deal. Now, he's on a 1-year, $750,000 contract, but he is an exclusive rights free agent, meaning the Bengals would have the opportunity, have an exclusive opportunity to re-sign him before he would become a free agent. So you better believe they will. So he'll be back in Cincinnati next year. The D did make a few crucial stops, therefore kind of better. Okay. If we want to get into the semantics game, that's fine. And by their standard, yes, if you get off the field 7 times in a game, sure. Spurge, good morning. Kenneth Pollock, Matt, if we get Corey Raymond back, do we start flipping cornerbacks and recruiting in the portal? I think he can work wonders, but still has his hands full the first 2 years. It's a fair question, and I think it is also fair to ask, hang on one second. Hang on one second. Okay. Yeah, there were 2. I was checking to see if they both signed. So there are 2 defensive backs that flipped from Florida to Texas. Xavier Phil-Simé, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Who's he's a 5-star in the 247 composite, the number 32 player in the country. Then Wardell Mack, who's a cornerback from John Ehret. Both of those guys were committed to Florida, and both said publicly they flipped to Texas after Corey Raymond left. So I was looking to see if they had signed letters of intent, or if they were going to sign in February, because if they hadn't signed, then LSU hires Corey. Then it'd be awesome if you could get him here. But they signed letters of intent. So Chris Allen, good morning. Here comes the Coach Prime to Bama rumors on national TV. I've told you that for a long time. Like, there is at least a there is that conversation that Dion will likely end up somewhere in the SEC, and the 2 schools that you hear most prominently are Bama and Florida. Like if it doesn't work out with Napier, like let's say Napier face plants again next year. And again, this is a hypothetical. Can I say this again as plain as day? This is a hypothetical. I'm not reporting news. This is a hypothetical. If Napier, hypothetically, were to struggle again next year, and hypothetically, Florida were to fire Napier in this hypothetical situation, hypothetically, Deion would, in this hypothetical situation, be on Florida's hypothetical list. Did I cover all my bases there? All right. Let's see. Rick Manuel, did you see Reliquos Bowl attendance? About 31,000. Smallest crowd for this bowl ever. Really? Was that smaller than, man, the Iowa LSU game in 2013? That felt like it was empty. I didn't realize that this was smaller than that. I would not have thought that, but yeah. Rocky Killian, good morning. Samuel Merrifield, Todd Harris, Brant Roban, good morning, y'all. Brant said, morning, Scone, next season you think the offense will take a step back. However, if the defense takes a massive step forward, may we still be able to make a deep run. Do I think the offense takes a step back? Well, yes. You were the number one offense in the country. So you would literally have to be the number one offense in the country again to not take a step back. But that doesn't mean the offense can't be elite again next year. So I think there's two different ways to answer that question. I think the defense or the offense could take a step back but still be great. What if you're a top 20 offense? That's still awesome. And I would hope the defense is better. I don't know that I could tolerate another season with the defense looking like they did this year. Okay, please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. Let's see. Devin Dabo has proven he's not a great head coach. I disagree with that, man. You don't have the type of success he's had sustained at that level for that long without being a great coach. The unwillingness to adapt to transfer portal and NIL may be his undoing on national scale, but it's also worth noting, man. I think we compare things in this era of Saban, and it just illustrates, look, it's so hard to get to the top of the mountain, but how hard it is. It's even harder to stay there. When we thought, 5 years ago that Dabo and Clemson were the challenger to Nick's throne. Well, they've faded, and Georgia has emerged now. So, I still think what Dabo has done there is amazing. I mean, we used to use Clemson as as a verb, like, or as a. What do we say an adjective? Clemsoning. Anyway, it would be an adverb because an adverb ends in ly. Whatever. I'm nerding out right now. Sorry. Anyway, we used to say Clemsoning to describe situations where teams would blow it late, and we don't do that no more. All right, I'm going to scroll, y'all. I'm going to scroll. Because I need to go shower. Oh, it's almost 8:30. All right. Kenyon Hudson, how soon do you think changes are coming? I think this week you'll start to, this week I think you'll start to hear all the announcements of players that are either going to return or going to go. pro, and I don't want to put a time frame on when you'll hear coaching announcements because I don't want to say this week and it not happen this week because I don't know a specific timeline. But it does stand to reason that you're in a recruiting dead period. And season's over, so take care of that now. Bubba, pageantry and traditional bowl games is dead. There may have been 15,000 to 18,000 in their max yesterday. Stadium reported 34,000. No way. Well, Bubba, the games that matter, there's still that. I mean, the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl yesterday were awesome. It's just the bowl games that are nothing but money grab TV shows, which I'm fine with that. I'm glad to watch all the football you want to give me in December and January. CK Matt, please tell me Omar Spates is out of eligibility. He is. That was a miss this year. Definitely expected more from Omar as an off-ball linebacker, and it just didn't work out this year. JR, many bowl games are in trouble with the new 12-team playoff. That's not true, JR, because as long as a bowl game has a TV partner and a sponsor, there will still be bowl games played. And as TV networks continue to struggle to get people to watch things live, remember, everybody watches their content, consumes their content on demand now. Really, the only thing that people still watch live is live sports. So these networks gobble up live sports contracts. So you will continue to have all these bowl games, even with attendance dwindling and players opting out because it's a TV show. And as long as there's a network willing to pay for it and a sponsor willing to be associated, which as long as there's a network, it will, bowl games aren't going anywhere. Taz, Matt, your meltdown Sunday after the Saints game was too funny. I was crying. Daniel Roof, morning, Matt, what situation with our D-line coach? Yeah, man. I know Jimmy Lindsay wants to come back. I don't know that physically he's able or if how that's going to work. So my assumption here is that they offered Jimmy Lindsay an opportunity to stay on staff, maybe like in an analyst role, and they hire a new defensive line coach. And the name everybody has mentioned is Bo Davis. I mean, I've heard that name. Everybody's heard that name. But I feel like we talk about Bo Davis every offseason. So would I love for that to work out to get Bo Davis back here? Absolutely. He's at Texas. Texas just lost last night. You have an open door to make that happen right now. We'll see if they're able to make it happen. Devin Kelly, good to see Weeks out there flying around. He had the one big stop. Dude's going to be a stud next year. I agree. That's one of the ones to be really excited about. You should have Greg Penn back. Greg Penn and Whit Weeks would be a really good tandem as off-ball linebackers. West Weeks should be back as well. Christian Braithwaite, a year older. I know a lot of people are mentioning Tackett Curtis, the linebacker from Manny who went to USC and just hit the portal. And I think if they can make the NIL money work, that's a guy that's maybe trying to get closer to home, so that would make a lot of sense. You could be okay. You could be okay there. William Kimbrough, let's see. JR, LSU will be in the playoffs next year. Bank on it. Tough schedule, man. I mean, it's one of those things where I think LSU might be better than their final record shows. When you got to play USC and UCLA in the non-conference, you've got Bama, Ole Miss, Oklahoma coming here. You have a really challenging schedule next year. Yeah. There's a big bug in the sink? You want to come talk to everybody while I go kill the big bug in the sink? Okay. E-Rock's nervous. There's a big bug in the sink. Well, Eric, you gonna go talk to everybody then? We'll just, tell them hi. Make sure there's no reflection on any of the...
Oh, God, no. Good morning. Fixing my coffee, and there's a big bug in our sink. It's disgusting. What is that thing? What is that? Where'd you put it? Did you do the disposal? No. Yeah, dispose it. You gotta turn the water on. You have to have the water on to use the disposal mat. See? It is working. It's just there's nothing really in there. Why couldn't you just throw it in the trash? Why didn't you just throw it in the trash?
I don't know, Erica.
Why would you do that? It's disgusting.
I don't know.
Now it's in the sink.
Oh, I'm sorry, Erica. It's in the garbage disposal. He did. He's not in your sink anymore. It's 8:30. I gotta go. I gotta get dressed and I gotta get out of here. Hypothetically, what would happen if E-Rock fought the bug? She would yell. Erica screams every day when she starts the. We have a gas fireplace, and so we turn on the gas and you get a little aim of flame and you point it in there to light it, and every day it lights, it goes poof, and she yells every time. It's almost like when Buddy the Elf is doing the Jack in the Box and he knows it's going to pop up and he still jumps every time. That's like what that is. Then depose it. Now Matt is the bug man, a jack of all trades. All right, I gotta go. My apologies if I missed you. Christian, who's your pest control peeps? Honestly, I spray twice a year. What's that stuff called? Suspend, maybe? Got it from Pest Stop. And it works incredibly. You spray it inside and out twice a year. Anyway. Dan Daly said, Matt, you have to turn on the water to use the disposal. I don't know. You think I use a garbage disposal? When do I ever use a garbage disposal? I mean, I throw stuff in the trash. I don't throw stuff in the garbage disposal. Blaine Smith, let's see. When was the last time you seen Saban out coach an important game like this? I don't know. I mean, Clemson blew him out a couple times in Natties. All right, I gotta go. Are you and T-Bob planning on being in Vegas for the opening game? Yes, we're planning on having our staff in Vegas for shows for the USC game. We're still working out deets on all that stuff, so we'll get there. Okay, thanks so much to everybody for watching. Y'all have an awesome day. Again, please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe up to the channel. We're brought to you by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. If you need an orthopedist, go to Brock. They're the best. All the subspecialties. Of course, if you need a roof, give us a shout at Hudco, HudcoRoofing.com, HudcoRoofing.com. Y'all have, tell her pour liquid soap in the drain after cleaning up. Okay. Dawn liquid dish detergent in a cheap plastic spray bottle for E-Rock to kill the bugs without using hazardous poison. Okay, great to know. I'll let her know. Y'all have an awesome day. Thanks for watching. We'll see you for AFR 3. Peace.